everybody, welcome to another video. This one's quite an old one. It's about three maybe 4 years old, and it's using the GTI Pro Lite with the T110 cap, and it just got me thinking. When I saw this video, I thought, well, I'll narrate over it so that you guys can see it. But it's got me thinking of how good these things are, and in the current day and age, when everything's getting so expensive. I was just having a look at these, and these now in the UK are about 320 GB pounds plus the VAT, so about £400, which is an absolute bargain compared to some of the guns these days. Because I mean, Segolas now, they're looking at 650, 700 pound. The Iwata WS 400s, same sort of price. Loads of them are really expensive, so these things are really good value, and you can get a cracking finish. So as I said, I didn't want to get rid of the footage. I thought I'd show you the old footage. Another thing I just got, which I'll say while I'm here, apart from a new camera, actually a new camera, which hopefully will filter through. The videos should get better as it goes along. I got this Aero Pro, the Aero Pro. It's a Chinese gun, basically. It's a Chinese copy. Well, I say copy, it's a loose copy of a W400, same cut fitting. A few people have said I should get one of these because they're really cheap, and it was really cheap. It was $60 US, and that was with 3 different tips. So I haven't used it yet. I've literally just got it, but I thought I'd throw that in because it's on the desk. Alright guys, we'll have a look at this video and see what you think. Cheers. So as I said in the introduction, guys, this is quite an old video, so there's a couple of things I wanted to run through. One is how slowly my style has changed, and I think that's coming from mainly miniguns. This, as I say, it's about 4 years, it may even be 5 years old, this video, and I can remember the GTI Pro Lite was one of the first full-size guns I got, together with the WS 400, and I remember thinking at the time that I probably don't need a full-size gun, but I wanted one. Well, I wanted 2, obviously. So that was the thinking behind it, and I've since come to the assumption that actually with a full-size gun you can do virtually anything as much as you can with a minigun. I still like my miniguns, I still like using them, but there's, you know, I don't these days think, oh, it's a small project, therefore I need a minigun. I just think, what do I fancy using, and that's what I use. So going back to what I was saying at the start, and one thing you'll notice, as I say, the style is slightly different. If this looks quite bitty, the way I'm spraying the underneath of the tank here, obviously you don't see the underneath of the tank. It's purely to get a couple of layers of protection for the base coat, because this tank was for somebody, I can't remember who it was for now, but it was for somebody that I knew, and he wanted it done to last, and that's the idea of doing that. So I'm not after a superb finish on the bottom, but I'm after a durable finish on the bottom, and that's the reason for just effectively filling everything in to make sure that everything's covered. But when we get to later on, you can see the outside of the tank with the T110, but it got me thinking about the price of this gun. As I said, it represents superb value for money, because it is a proper professional gun. Not built as well as some of the guns. It's not built as well as the Segola. It's probably not built as well as the SATA, although I would question that, because the SATAs I don't think are particularly well built. They're, you know, good guns, but they're not particularly well built. It's probably on a par with the Walcom. So it's not that bad. It's just that it's not right up there with, you know, some of the really good guns. But compared to a lot of top price guns these days, it's literally half the price. So in the UK it's half the price anyway. And I know in the US you get the Tekna Pro Lite, and a couple of people have said to me that's still quite expensive over there, which I think it is. I think it sells in a kit form for about $600 US, which is about 500 GB pounds at the moment, maybe slightly less. But what you normally get with it, and I could be completely wrong here, but what you normally get with it is you get a few different caps and you get a few different tips. So it's actually quite a kit. And when you get it in that that kit, it does give you a very versatile spray gun. I mean, I use a 1.2 T10 for, I think it's called a T10 maybe in the US, but a T10 cap for base coat, a T20 or T20 cap for clear coat, and you've got this one, the T110, which again I think in some states in the US and probably other regions as well. I mention the US because obviously a lot of people watch the channel that are in the US, and they give me certain bits of information back. So if somebody's somewhere else, I'm not excluding you, it's just that I don't get so much information back to know what's available and what isn't. But as I say, it depends which cap you get, but when you get quite a few different caps, it makes it such a versatile gun. So I use like a 1.4 tip for direct gloss these days. It puts it out really, really nice. You can get some really good finishes. But you'll see here, using the T110, it's a fairly easy gun to use. Some of the guns I recommend sometimes, because those that are new to the channel, if you've just stumbled across this, I'm a bit of a freak really. I really like spray guns, and I like buying quality tools. So I buy this stuff even though I don't have a lot of use for them. I use them all the time, but you know, nobody needs 30 spray guns or whatever, do they? But I have. So you know, I buy them because I like them and I want to use them and I enjoy using them. But it does make you think that when you get something like this, you really don't need much more than what you have here. So the GTI Pro Lite or Tekna Pro Lite will do virtually everything you want of it. It will do base coat, it will do clear coat, it will do direct gloss. It would do at a push, it would do primer, but I wouldn't advise using a primer gun as a clear coat gun and as a base coat gun as well, because the primer is such a mucky stuff, especially if you use like primer sealer, the thinner stuff. It's so mucky that I would just buy a cheap primer gun, use that, and then keep this as a good gun. But yeah, thoroughly recommended. I really enjoy using that. Even to this day, I still really enjoy using it. I think you'll find that on the Devilbiss, with the sealing arrangement at the front, it's probably the weakest spot of the gun. They have this like white, it's sort of like, it's like a nylon type material, but it's like a gasket, and it just forms the gasket around where the Bakelite piece seals to the gun. And if anything, that is probably its Achilles heel, because it's effectively the same as having a sealing ring on the end of the tip. And what that does is it seals the gun up, and you'll get like bubbling through the pot and things like that. And I've had to change on this one a couple of times, and I've also got a PRI Pro Lite, which is exactly the same body, and I've had to change it on that as well for exactly the same thing. It just gets like compression bound. It just gets where it's been compressed so many times. You know, you take it apart to clean it, put it together, blah 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 blah. You know, it ends up that it just goes. But they're not particularly expensive. The Chinese make pattern ones now, which I haven't tried, but I'm sure they'll probably actually work okay. But yeah, it's the only thing I can think of really that's a proper wearable part on this. Other parts will wear, but you need to give it a lot of use. So yeah, a thoroughly likeable gun, and very easy to use. So if you're relatively new to painting but you want to treat yourself to something good, then something like this is ideal. Now you can see the finish is absolutely superb. I didn't do outside shots in those days. These days I take the things outside, normally leave them a few days etc and take them outside. But I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to say here, that it does give a really effortless finish without breaking the bank, well, by today's standards anyway. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed my little ramble, and you keep watching them and I'll keep making them. Thanks for watching as always. Cheers, bye bye.